Good morning, students. Today we will start with the third lesson of the book Footprint Without Feet, that is, The Midnight Visitor. This lesson is written by Robert Arthur. Robert Arthur was an American writer of mystery. His fame rests on the Mysterious Traveler radio series and his Three Investigators series of novels. These two famous series are there. His stories were published in many magazines between 1930 and 1940. He also wrote mystery books for children. Okay, and he died in 1969 in Philadelphia. So now, as we know that this writer he writes mystery stories, so of course you understand that Midnight Visitor is also a suspense story, a mysterious story. There are three main characters in the story. One is Osable. Osable is a secret agent, okay, and he is expecting to get some very important report that night. And Fowler, he is accompanied by a man, Fowler, who is a writer. He met him on the same day and he wanted to make a documentary on that secret agent. And the third one is the Midnight Visitor. Who is the Midnight Visitor? He is Max. Max actually wants to get those important papers from Osable. Okay, so now the twist in the story is whether Max is successful in getting the papers or Osable is clever enough to deceive him. So, how all that happened? This is all a part of the story. So, let's read that and find out the thrill inside that. So, now as the story starts, it is given that Osable did not fit any description of a secret agent Fowler had ever read. Actually, Fowler wanted to have a study of the secret agents. He wanted to write a story, he wanted to write a book. So, when he met Osable, he imagined that as a kind of secret agent, but he was not fit. Osable was not fit in any kind of description because what Fowler had imagined for a secret agent, Osable was not like that. Following him down the musty corridor of the gloomy French hotel where Osable had a room, Fowler felt let down. Now, Osable took him to his room through a corridor, and corridor, it was a musty corridor. Musty means जैसे होता है ना दीवारों पे सीलन आ जाती है तो musty. It was musty corridors, dump smell. Okay, and of the gloomy French hotel. It was a gloomy, very dark, not very bright lights and all that. It was a French hotel where Osable had a room, and Osable wanted to take him to his room, and they went through the corridor. Fowler felt let down, and Fowler was not happy at all, but because what he was thinking of a secret agent, Osable was not like that at all, and he felt ki where I am, why I am here to study that person. It was a small room on the sixth and top floor. It was a very small room where Osable was living, and it was on the sixth and the top floor. It was the last floor of the hotel, and scarcely a setting for a romantic adventure. And it was not at all looking to be romantic. Is something imaginative, something creative that he was looking for in a secret agent, and it was not at all a setting for that. Osable was for one thing fat, very fat. Now Fowler thinks that for one reason he did not like Osable because Osable was very fatty. And then there was his accent. Accent is the language that your native language that you carry different. Haryanvi log hain, they have their own accent, and if you go to south they have their own accent. So it is all the language that you are carrying. Okay, so though he spoke French and German passively, what does it mean? That he spoke French and German. He spoke very confidently. He was very confident in speaking French and German. But he had never altogether lost the American accent he had brought to Paris from Boston 20 years ago. Actually, he belonged to America. He was from Boston, and 20 years back he had shifted to Paris. But he still carried that accent, American accent, with him. And although he was good enough in speaking French and German, but he was still carrying that accent, American accent. You are disappointed, Osabel said wheezily over his shoulder. You are disappointed. Now, Osabel could understand that Fowler was not happy to meet him. And he said wheezily. Wheezily means that is a sound which comes from the chest. Because he was fatty, so there was a sound, whizzing sound, okay, from his lungs over his shoulder. You were told that I was a secret agent, a spy, dealing in espionage and danger. Espionage and danger. Now, what he says that he was told that I was a secret agent, a spy, dealing in espionage. Espionage means spying, and danger means I was a secret agent. Secret agent, so you know, they always deal in danger and they are spying always. So he says ki I don't look like that anyway. And you wish to meet me because you are a writer, young and romantic. And you wanted to meet me because you are a writer, young and romantic. Romantic means imaginative and creative, and you wanted to write about me. You envisioned mysterious figures in the night, the crack of pistol, drug in the wine. And what you envision means you imagined mysterious figures in the night. कि जो secret agents होते हैं, they always work in the night, and they are crack of pistol, drugs in the wine. Drugs in the wine means they are always having pistols, and they are always using such kind of things. Okay, drugs and wine, and they look, you don't look like, because Oswald did not look like a secret agent. So instead you have spent a dull evening in a French music hall with a sloppy fat man who, instead of having messages slipped into his hand by dark-eyed beauties, gets only a prosaic telephone call making an appointment in his room. Instead, वो कहते हैं कि तुम तो ये सोच रहे थे कि तुम किसी सीक्रेट एजेंट से मिलने वाले हो, बट you had to spend the night in the music hall. Actually, in the evening they had met in the French music hall with a sloppy fat man. कि तुमने तो सारी शाम एक फैटी मैन के साथ स्पेंड कर दी है. Instead of having messages slipped into his hand, जैसे सीक्रेट एजेंट्स को मैसेजेस मिलते हैं ना, by the dark eyed beauties, कि beautiful ladies, they give secret messages to those agents. लेकिन कहता है कि आई जस्ट गॉट अ प्रोजेइक मीन्स ऑर्डनरी कॉल फ्रॉम मेकिंग एन अपॉइंटमेंट इन हिज रूम. कि आई जस्ट गॉट ए कॉल टू मेक एन आई जस्ट मेड एन अपॉइंटमेंट टू मीट इन द रूम, एंड आई डिड नॉट गेट एनी मैसेजेस, एंड आई डोंट बिहेव लाइक एनी सीक्रेट एजेंट. तो तुम्हें बहुत डिसअपॉइंटमेंट हो रही होगी मुझसे मिलके. यू हैव बीन बोर्ड. The fat man chuckled to himself as he unlocked the door of his room and stood aside to let his frustrated guest enter. तो फैट मैन ही जस्ट स्माइल इनसाइड, वो जैसे डोर खोल रहा है, एंड ही सेज ही जस्ट थिंक कि आई एम बोर्ड, and he is unlocking the door of the room and stood aside to let his frustrated guest enter. And he felt कि Fowler was frustrated to meet me, okay, and he just wanted to let him come to his room. You are disillusioned. Disillusion means you had imagined something else, but now your illusion, your imagination, that has destroyed completely. Oswald told him, but take cheer. Be happy, my dear friend. Presently you will see a paper, a quite important paper. Now he said कि you must be happy because very soon I am going to get some important papers which several men and women have risked their lives come to me. Or I will get some important papers for which many men and women have risked their life. They want to get it from me, and now you will get some thrill. someday soon that paper may well affect the course of history. And these are really very important papers, and he just want to say कि I am a really very good secret agent, because I'm very important one, and because these paper which I am getting will change the course of history. They can change, they will become history, they will change some part of the history. In that is drama, is there not? In that thought is drama, is there not? And it is in that thought is drama. आपको लग नहीं रहा होगा कि it is a drama, is there not? कि I am really getting something very important, and these papers will definitely very important, and they will really help to change the history. As he spoke, Osable closed the door behind him. Then he switched on the light. और जैसे ही उसने वो बोला, डोर पीछे से उसने डोर बंद कर दिया. And as the light came on, as the light was switched on, Fowler had his first authentic thrill of the day. Fowler actually was getting bored all during the evening and while coming to his home, coming to his room. But now he got something real thrill of the day. For halfway across the room, a small automatic pistol in his hand stood a man. और वहाँ पे कौन था? As they switched on the light, what they found, a man with a pistol in his hand was standing there. Osable blinked a few times. तो Osable blinked his eyes. उसने अपनी पलकें झपकाई. Max, he whizzed again. He again produced a sound, heavy sound. You gave me quite a start. You gave me a shock. I thought you were in Berlin. What are you doing here in my room? So now what he says, कि I was expecting you to be in Berlin. Berlin is the capital of Germany. I thought you were in Germany, but what are you doing in my room? Now read and find out, how has Max got in? How does Osable say he got in? So now we have to find out the next, how Max got into the room and how Osable think that he has got into the room. Let's read. Max was slender. Now we are told about Max. Max was slender. He was very thin, a little less than tall, not very tall, with features that suggested slightly the crafty, pointed countenance of a fox. And that suggested slightly the crafty. Crafty means tricky. Pointed countenance. Countenance means annoyed facial expressions of a fox. Countenance and annoyed facial expressions. He was just looking like a fox. Tricky. Crafty is tricky. Pointed countenance. Annoyed facial expressions of a fox. There was about him. This was all about him. Aside from the gun, nothing specially menacing. And except the gun, his looks, his everything, it was not at all threatening. Menacing is threatening. Now the report, he murmured. Now Max, what he wanted, why he had come there, he wanted those important papers. The report that is being brought to you tonight concerning some new missiles, I thought I would take it from you. It will be safer in my hands than in yours. So now what he said, that I am here to get the report which is concerning about new missiles, and I thought that I should take it from you. Now Max wanted those papers, and it will be safer in my hands than in yours. So Max said that this report will be safe in my hands. So Osable moved to an armchair and sat down heavily. Now Osable, when he entered the room, he saw that person, stranger, inside his room, and he just talked about he wanted the papers. Osable sat on the chair, sat down heavily. I am going to raise the devil with the management this time. Raise the devil, that I am going to fight with the management this time. You can bet on it. You can be sure about it. You can bet on it with me. He said grimly. Grimly means seriously. This is the second time in a month that somebody has got into my room through that nonsense of a balcony. Now, it is the second time in the month that somebody has got into my room through that nuisance of a balcony. Now, what he thought, that Max had entered into his room through that balcony. तो balcony, there was only a single window in that room. So Fowler eyes went to the single window of the room. It was an ordinary window against which now the night was pressing blackly. So it was all dark outside because it was a midnight, and against which now it was completely dark outside, pressing blackly. It was all the black night was pressing against the window. Balcony, Max said with a rising inflection. So now what he said, balcony, Max said. Now Max was questioning at balcony because he had not what he said with a rising inflection. So rising inflection means that he was not accepting that. He said not a passkey. Passkey means it's a master key. So he says ki that I have entered the room through a passkey. Then it belongs to the next. I did not know about the balcony. So now what Max says that he did not know about the balcony. It might have saved me some trouble I had known. Ki if I had known about the balcony, it would have saved his time and trouble. It is not my balcony, Oswald said with extreme irritation. He said with extreme irritation, it is not my balcony. Balcony, you understand, no? It is the space outside the window. It is an open space on the first or second or third floor. It belongs to the next apartment. It is of the next room. He glanced explanatory at Fowler. So he just wanted to explain the things to Fowler. You see, he said, this room used to be part of a large unit, and the next room through that door there used to be the living room. So this room was in the past was a part of a large room, and through that door there used to be the living room, and through that door he indicated the door that there used to be the living room. It had the balcony which extends under my window now, and now this room has been partition has been done in this room, and the balcony still extends into my room. You can get onto it from the empty room two door down there is an empty room, and you can easily get onto this balcony and enter my room. So and somebody did last month, and same happened last month also. Somebody entered my room through that balcony. The management promised to block it off, but they haven't. Management promised that they would, hotel management, they promised that they would block it off, they would block this balcony, but they have not. So what he is saying कि नीचे से एक रास्ता है वो बालकनी में आने का, और वो बालकनी अभी भी यहाँ पे है, एंड इट इज़ नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ माई रूम, इट इज़ द पार्ट ऑफ सम अदर रूम, बट इट इज़ स्टिल इट कैन बी यूज टू कम टू माई रूम, एंड दे हैड प्रॉमिस्ड कि दे वुड ब्लॉक इट, बट उन्होंने अभी इसको ब्लॉक नहीं किया है. तो वो गुस्से हो रहा है होटल मैनेजमेंट के ऊपर कि उन्होंने अभी तक बालकनी बंद नहीं की और मैक्स उस बालकनी से आ गया है. Max glanced at Fowler, who was standing stiffly not far from Oswald. So Max, he just looked at Fowler, who was standing stiffly. He was he was straight, standing right with Oswald, and waved the gun with a commanding gesture. And Max waved the gun with a commanding, ordering gesture. Please sit down, he said. We have a wait of half an hour, I think. So actually the important papers had to come by 12:30. So he said कि they would have to wait for some time. It is about half an hour. They would have to wait so they can sit. Oswald and Fowler, they can sit. Okay. 31 minutes, Oswald said moodily. Oswald said some seriously, he said irritatingly, he said, it is 31 minutes. The appointment was for 12:30. I wish I knew how you learned about the report, Max. तो अपॉइंटमेंट जो है वो इट इज़ फॉर 12:30. अभी 31 मिनट्स आर स्टिल लेफ्ट, एंड आई विश कि मुझे पता लग जाता कि तुम्हें इस बारे में कैसे पता लग गया रिपोर्ट के बारे में. द लिटल स्पाई मैक्स स्माइल्ड इविली, ही इन ए इविल मैनर ही स्माइल्ड, एंड वी विश वी न्यू हाउ यू पीपल गॉट द रिपोर्ट, और काश हमें पता लग जाता है तुम्हें ये रिपोर्ट कहाँ से मिल गई. बट नो हार्म हैज़ बीन डन, बट स्टिल नो हार्म हैज़ बीन डन. I will get it back tonight. I will get the report back. What is it? What is that? Who is at the door? In the meantime, there is knocking at the door. And he said, who is at the door? Fowler jumped at the sudden knocking at the door. Fowler suddenly jumped at the knocking of the door. Oswald just smiled. Osable smiled. That will be the police, he said. He said कि police is at the door. I thought that such an important paper as one we are waiting for should have a little extra protection. Actually, what Osable said, कि I had already informed the police that he is getting some important papers and he wanted security for those papers, and that's why there will be police on the door. I told them to check on me to make sure everything was right, and he just wanted to make sure, he just wanted to keep police a check on him so that everything is all right. Max bit his lip nervously. The knocking was repeated. In the meantime, Max became nervous because there was police outside. Knocking was repeated. What will you do, Max? Osable asked, what will you do, Max? If I do not answer the door, they will enter anyway. अगर मैं डोर को आंसर नहीं करूँगा, मैं उनको आंसर नहीं करूँगा, वो अभी आ जाएंगे. Because my life is at risk. The door is unlocked and they will not hesitate to shoot. And door is open and they will not hesitate to shoot. And if they enter and they find you as a stranger there, they will shoot you. So Max's face was black with anger as he backed swiftly towards the window. So Max, what he planned now? Max planned to go to that balcony which Osable had just mentioned. So he just go back with anger towards the window. He swung a leg over the sill, sent them away. He warned Osable that you just send them away. I will wait on the balcony. Send them away or I will shoot and take my chances. So what he said, ki send them away, send the police away or I will shoot all you and make my chances. I will get the important papers. The knocking at the door became louder and a voice was raised. Sorry. The knocking at the door became louder. In the meantime, knocking became louder and the voice was raised. Mr. Osable, Mr. Osable. So, what happened next? Keeping his body twisted so that his gun still covered the fat man and his guest, the man at the window grasped the frame with his free hand to support himself. So, now कीपिंग हिज बॉडी ट्विस्टेड, अब वो अपनी गन भी उसने पॉइंट की हुई है ऑसिबल पे कि वो कुछ ना कर पाए, एंड ही जस्ट ट्राइंग, एज यू कैन सी इन द पिक्चर ऑल्सो, ही इज जस्ट ट्राइंग टू गेट इन टू द बैल्कनी. सो विज इज गन पॉइंटेड एट ऑसिबल. सो पहले उसने एक लेग रखी, फिर उसने दूसरी लेग अपने उस पर शिफ्ट किया. मैन एट द विंडो ग्रैस द फ्रेम को पकड़ा उसने एंड इज फ्री हैंड टू सपोर्ट हिमसेल्फ एंड देन ही स्वंग हिज अदर लेग एंड ओवर द विंडो सिल एंड ही जस्ट cross that window. The doorknob turned. Door was opened. Swiftly, Max pushed with his left hand to free himself from the sill and dropped to the balcony. और इतने में ही जैसे ही डोर ओपन होने लगता है, इन द मीन टाइम मैक्स जो है he freed his hand and jumped into the balcony. And then as he dropped, he screamed once shrilly. Or as he dropped in the balcony, he screamed once shrilly. Very loudly he screamed. वो जोर से चिल्लाता है. The door opened and a waiter stood there with a tray, a bottle and 2 glasses. But when the door was open, there was a waiter there with a bottle and 2 glasses. Here is the drink you ordered for when you returned. And when you returned to your room, you had ordered for the drink and I have come with that drink. He said and set the tray on the table, deftly uncorked the bottle and left the room. And he very skillfully uncorked the bottle. He opened the bottle and left the room. The waiter left the room. White-faced. Now, Fowler face became pale, white-faced, as if sick, and he was surprised actually. So he just stared at him, but he stammered, "The police? You were saying that there is police? There is no police. He was just a waiter." There was no police, Osable sighed. Osable said that there was no police, or only Henry, whom I was expecting. I was expecting Henry. He had to come with this drink, and there was no police at all. But want that man out on the balcony? Fowler began. And the man in the balcony, he would be there, and he would again come back and he would shoot us. No, said Osable. He won't return. You see, my young friend, there is no balcony. Actually, there was no balcony He had just created an imaginative story. He was a spy, clever spy, Osabel. He created imaginative story how to get rid of that person, and he just cooked up a story about the balcony, and the Max jumped, imagined it as balcony, but he fell down straight from the sixth floor. He might have been injured or died at, died, and he could not come at this time again. So this was all a story how cleverly Osable, a spy who did not seem to be a mysterious person, or he doesn't seem to be a detective, but he cleverly handled the situation, making Fowler feeling good about him, and his he could get an experience of the thrill that he was expecting from us, not expecting from Osable at all. So this is all about the story part, and the theme. If we talk about the theme, it is, as it is a mysterious story, okay. And Osable, he did not fit in any description of a secret agent. He did not seem to be like a secret agent, and as Fowler had imagined, he had nothing. As we read in the books or in the films, he was a very fat and sloppy person, and he cooked up the now. Osable was gifted a rare presence of mind. He was very clever person. Okay, he cooked up the story of the balcony before the below the window of his room, and the arrival of the police, and he outwitted, outsmarted his rival and enemy secret agent Max, who had come to take away very important paper concerning some new missile. Through this presence of mind, Osable was able to get rid of his rival Max. So this is all about the theme of the story. Okay, so with that, thank you so much.